If you have a paragraph, let's try to write one real quick. Hello, I am a human. Nice to meet you. So let's say this is a paragraph. First, I would have to reduce the size because it's going out of my canvas. Then change the space between the two lines. Maybe change the alignment. Then go to paragraph and change the alignment here as well. Let's go for the center. And here you get to choose how much space. I have to choose this option first, sorry. How much space do I want from the left? Okay. And then here is how much space. Let me turn this to 0. How much space do I want from the first letter? Go on the first line and just choose the point that I want. You've seen in newspapers when like the first letter is a capital and it's larger than the rest. Let's make it that way. Something like this. And there's a space here. This is where the picture would go. And this is where you could do that option. We also have one for a space before the paragraph. This is where you would choose space between there, and this is how much space do you want from the right if your text starts from the right, and how much space do you want from the bottom of the paragraph. Alright, just some stuff with the paragraph, and you would also have these options. I don't right now because it's barely a paragraph. Alright, I'm going to close this panel. And I believe we went over everything right here. It's the same thing that we saw in the characters. We also have two other options, convert to frame or convert to shape. We already talked about frames, which was here. If we turn our text layer into a frame, anything applied where it's an image or an effect, it will only be inside the letters. And if we turn it into a shape, we are turning the text layer into a shape layer. So we would have the settings for shape and no longer the settings for text. So let's close that. And another kind of transform options that you could do is, let's hit OK first. Once we're done, I'm done. If I go on that layer, hit Ctrl T to transform, I can move it around, right? Just some simple transforming. Right click, I have some options as we do for any other layer. If I use scale, I can scale it in or out. And it has an anchor point. So if I do it from here, it has another anchor point. Let's go to rotate. I get to rotate my text to whichever angle that I want. Right click, we have skew, which just moves it to either side. Gives it a cool effect. Let me bring it back to normal. Right click and we have warp. Now warp does not work like this. You would have to go on the T because our layer is still a text. But if it was a shape, we could use the shape warp option. And then right click again, we have some rotate options. I get to rotate it 180 degrees, 90 degrees, clockwise, counterclockwise, flip it horizontal, flip it vertical. Right, so just some small options that we have. Here, I could actually try to do some small adjustments. It won't be as free as the older warp that we saw, which was a T and the curve below. Right now I can choose my warp style. Let's choose a fish. I can decide how much I want it to bend. I can choose the height, the horizontal and the vertical. But the options are a little limiting. We don't have everything that we did in the this is just some of the few settings that we did in that text warp that we had in the text tool, which was up here. And in this option, it's talking about the guide, this blue line right here. Do you want it to be blue or any other color. Blue is the best one. It stands out. You can change the opacity, the density. Do you want a thicker line or do you want a thinner line? Kind of lag there. You can show auto show guides, always show guides, never show guides. I keep it on auto. You will always need the guides because you want to know where is the frame for your text selection. Once you're done, hit OK. We now have a fish looking paragraph. And I can also use the move tool to just move it around if I need to. And because we warped the text, you can see that it has the warp option. If I have a normal text, I want to create a new text. Just click anywhere else, not on the selection. Click once. Let me write something else. Oh, our text is super small. It's 2.88 points. Let's make it like 67. There is my text. If I hit OK, you can see that it tells you this is a normal text layer. This has been warped. You can lock it as we mentioned. And let me now delete these two. And let's go over, I'll just do a quick vertical thing. You can see our cursor switched. So now I'm typing vertically. Let's write something. Let's write hello. All right, I want to minimize the space because there's a lot. I can select everything and hit Ctrl T. It will bring the character panel for me. I would need to reduce the space between the characters. Maybe I can change the thickness, the thinness, and all that. It's the same thing as the horizontal, except it's vertical. All right. I'm going to delete this layer as well. Now let's see what the mask tools are. Right click on the thing and we have some vertical type mask tool, horizontal type mask tool. What this means is that if you click it once, you get to mask that area out. Well, let me first add a layer. I'm going to hit that cancel mark up there. Let me add a new layer and I will try to add let's try a gradient. I'm going to go on to gradient, just choose a random, let's choose purple, click, drag to the direction I want it. There's my gradient. All right, on top of my gradient, I can create a mask. Go to horizontal type mask, click once, anywhere you like, and I can change the font so it looks better. Let's go for like this guy right here. Let's write hello, all caps. Okay, hit OK. And right now I have created a selection. So if I hit the mask tool right here, the symbol next to our adjustment, I have applied the gradient inside of my text. Or I could hit Ctrl I on my mask layer to remove the gradient from my text. So this is no longer a text layer. I cannot change it around. I cannot move it around. It's a mask layer. And another thing that we can do is, let me bring back the selection. I'm going to create a new layer. Maybe go with a brush, go for a, let's see, a blue color. I can just paint in my selection. Control D. And I could have just done that with the text, but if you want to add maybe a texture, another gradient, this is a good place to go. So this is a pretty cool thing for mask. We have the exact same thing for the vertical type mask. Let me type vertically. Let's write goodbye. Bring it a little higher so we can see the text. Hit OK. It selects it for me, and I'll just make a mask layer with this. I'm going to go on my mask layer, Control I to invert it, and there is my masked out text layers. It's really simple. I think the text tool is a lot more simpler than the other layers. It's great for posters, logos, brochures, or letters, anything. And I just like how Photoshop gives you so much more options. And you can just create anything. There's no limit. Another thing that I forgot to mention, let's go to horizontal type tool. Go on top of layer 2. Let's write something else. Okay. Remember when we talked about smart objects and how we can rasterize those layers. What that means is that if I wanted to, let's say, delete a part of the text, I cannot. The eraser tool is just an example, talking about any other adjustment. It will not allow me. If I click it once, the layer must be rasterized. If you want to rasterize your layer to add some adjustments, you can do it the same way that we used for smart objects. Go on your layer, right click, go to rasterize type. Now it's a normal layer and I can delete a part if I want. If I wanted maybe half of the edge, I can do that. This is just a quick overview of the text tool. And I just wanted you guys to know how it works, how it operates, what are the options. But again, in the later lessons, we will go into more detail about how to use those settings in a more practical form. We'll be creating maybe posters, some business cards, and things that you will probably need Photoshop for. So this is it for this lesson. I will see you guys in the next one.